Weekends are wonderful. Weekends are great. But sometimes after you've been working really hard all week and your schedule's been very regimented and you don't have a lot of free time, when you come to a day whenever all you have is free time, it gets a little confusing. So the best thing to do is just to stay busy. Gonna watch some college football, work on an illustration for a sermon I'm going to be doing soon. I might go hiking, and I might paint another piece of furniture. We'll see how the day goes.
With a little extra thought, I've decided just to show you guys some places near my home. All right, so the first place we're going is a hop and a skip away from my house, 2 minutes down the road. It's called an artesian well. So springs are created in a lot of different ways. This particular spring, it's an artesian well. That means that there is an aquifer, which is a underground source of water. And there's a lot of pressure underneath there. And that pressure forces water up through sand, silt, and rock, which filters out every impurity. And it bubbles up to the surface in places like this as a source of fresh water. Those ripples are water bubbling up from underneath the ground. Eventually, this spring, which turns into a creek, runs into the Conasauga River. Aquifer. 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 Okay, we're at Trader's Mill, which is probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes away from my house. Alright, so for people who don't necessarily understand what a mill is, it's a place where farmers would bring their wheat, corn, other grains to be ground down into flour so they could be used for baking and for cooking and for other things. Okay, so what I think happens, I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think water is let in to varying degrees with this thing right here, and it pushes a wheel which turns a big gigantic grinding stone that farmers would put their corn and wheat in, and it would grind it up into flour. So along with the buildings, the historical buildings, there's actually a small train on the other side that you can look at. Can't really do anything else with it. There's also some nature trails and this nice creek that you can fish in. Okay, this is the other side of the, I guess you can call it museum, but just a few more buildings and a train. Okay, slight correction, it's not a train, it's the caboose, so just a car that goes on the end. It's right over there somewhere. Maybe you can see it. I don't know. People are taking pictures there with their kids, so I don't want to disturb them. you know, you work all week. You can do like little things throughout the week, but let's be honest, for a lot of us, especially if you're working in an industrial manufacturing environment and you're on your feet all day, you're pretty exhausted when you get home and you don't want to do much more. So for me, it's imperative that I do something during the weekend that kind of resets and restarts everything for me. So saw this thing, and interesting, right? Middle of nowhere, out in the middle of the countryside. Wouldn't you know it, I started driving not knowing where I was going to go, and I ended up on a curvy mountain road. Not a bad deal. This is the Kahada Overlook, and I think maybe it's been a little overgrown. So it wasn't actually overgrown at all. It was just the bottom of the path and not the very top. Because as you can tell, I found something cool. Okay, so when you're traveling out and about and you don't really have a destination, you got to keep your eyes open and looking for things. Saw a nice little overpass here, but then behind me, that's a little, that's a bed and breakfast. It's a little nice little quaint bed and breakfast on the top of a mountain. So that's kind of cool. Okay, we ended up on top of a mountain again. Not exactly sure how that happened. Well, I am sure how it happened. We drove, but I don't know how mentally we made it there, because that wasn't my intention when we first pulled out of the driveway. Regardless, we made it up there, and it really does something visceral and emotional to me that I can't really explain. I don't know what, there's probably some sort of psychological or emotional issue there, but it does bring me a real sense of well-being and joy to see mountains, to go up mountains, to look off overlooks and just to hike up them. I don't know what that is. I really don't. I guess it's the same as this, if someone likes going to a concert, or if someone likes shopping, or if someone likes, I don't know, a billion other hobbies and things people have. But there really is something special for me about seeing a mountain. So I really can't complain about this day or this trip because that's what I got to do. You guys are probably bored though, so bye. Bugs keep flying and hitting my head. I don't understand what's happening.